Hey, good evening, everybody. It's Steve with Real Progressives. It's been a few days since I've talked to you all, but I want to come to you all in defense of a friend of mine and a friend of many of you all's, and that's Claudia Stauber. There was a vicious attack by somebody who maybe they're a good person, maybe they're a bad person, maybe they're a non. I don't know. I don't care. But it takes a lot to go out here and try and give you guys the straight skinny day in and day out. And Claudia comes out there, God love her, right? Multiple times a day, trying her best to give you guys the most, informative stuff she can give you. In her own way, Claudia gives you everything she's got. And yet there's somebody out there, some backseat driver, running around calling her a bunch of names, running around yickety-yakketing, making the Green Party look like dirt. I mean, this is serious. This is one of those people that everybody wants to steer clear of. I'm not going to give him any props. I'm not going to give his name a shout out. I'm not going to say a word about who it was. For those of you who saw this, it doesn't matter who. The issue is it should never happen. And when it does happen, it needs to be called out. Now, I was grateful to see a couple people in there saying, man, you shouldn't have been such a complete and utter douchebag, because it makes all of the green people look bad because of your mouth. That mouth flapping, yapping, doing things, saying things. Worthlessness, right? So I'm here to defend Claudia, because Claudia is taking bold stances on things that maybe you all aren't willing to take a bold stance on. Maybe she's taking bold stances, on things that many of us are afraid to take a stance on, right? So think about that for a minute. You guys want to defend the First Amendment? You want to defend people trying their best to tell you the straight skinny and not just fall in line? Well, that's what she's been doing. And some asswipe ran around talking trash about her, yapping their mouth. And I swear to God, it's people like that that make me just say, you know what? It's time to start watching hockey again. It's time. Because if I'm fighting for you, if you're on my team, if you're supposedly a lefty or a green person or something like that, and you behave that way, disgusting, ruthlessly worthless. And I don't have any time in my life for it, but I'm going to defend Claudia. So anyway, that's it in a nutshell on that. The next thing, and this may be the most important thing for us all, I've come to realize that people are just absolutely beyond clueless about economics, as we already know. It's not the clueless part of it that bothers me so much. It's the brazen, mouthy, loud, vocal nonsense from the people that know the least that bother me the most. Because unfortunately, this is just the way it goes. The squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? So the person that yaps the most, that says the most nonsense, they don't have to back up what they're saying. They don't have to verify what they're saying. They don't even have to be able to give a cogent response to why they're saying it. They just say things, right? And so I was in this group, and I didn't post, but it was exposing the Rothschilds. And in this group, this jackass says, maybe Hitler wasn't the bad guy after all. This is the Rothschild exposing types, folks. This is the stuff. The extreme anti-Semitism. The extreme conspiratorial bullshit. The worthlessness that I fight against on a daily basis. This is where they extrapolate from very rich people controlling the world in their own way to the Jews. The Jews, the Jews, the Jews, right? The Jews did it. And this is the sick kind of perversion, the revolting bigotry that makes my skin go up. That's why you don't hear me talking about Jorge Soros. Somebody comes to me all the time. Why don't you talk about Soros enough? Why aren't you out there fighting against Soros? Because Soros is a name. He is just one. He's just a number. He's just another one of these jackwads that has a lot of money that tries to influence our political process. Folks, you need to learn how to turn the tables on these people. Okay? And this is the sad truth. Now, I don't know if you guys understand this or not, but I'm just going to tell it to you anyway. It doesn't matter whether the guy's name is Goldstein, Rothschild, Silver, Silverstein, whatever Stein, okay? The friggin' anti-Semitic bullshit is enough. It's enough. Done with it. It's okay to not want to see the Palestinians destroyed through genocidal behavior, through war hawking, through right-wing extremism, which is what the present leadership in Israel is like. It's okay to not want to fund that. It's not, however, okay to want the Jews to be dead. It's not okay to hate the Jews. Okay? It's not okay. It's not frickin' okay. And, there's nothing progressive about anti-Semitism. And there is nothing anti-Semitic about standing up for the rights of the Palestinians. You do see the two can live in harmony. There is no reason to be a scumbag, bigot, anti-Semite while defending the Palestinians. You don't have to be a worthless bigot to defend the other. You can stand on both of them with equal footing and not be a complete and utter jackass. You can do it. I know. It's possible. And it's time to do better. It's time. So no more of this crap, man. I have no tolerance for the anti-Semitism at all. Which brings me to the next point. The GOP, right? So I talk to a lot of people, obviously, and a lot of these people have different viewpoints about, economics, and they have viewpoints about what you should do and how you should do it and how taxes should go and so on. And that's totally cool. Everybody's entitled to a wrong opinion. Everybody's entitled to have an idea that's not fully vetted. But everyone isn't entitled to not be, slammed like Matumbo when they're wrong, or corrected gently when they're wrong. And one of the things that I'm realizing is that let's just do a little bit of a game here for a minute, right? If taxes don't fund spending, which we know they don't, empirically, we know that the federal tax dollar does not fund a single nickel, not one single nickel of spending, right? Not an ounce. So if that's the case, why would you go into a battle talking about raising taxes if your goal is to get bridges fixed? Just asking. Questions that demand answers, folks. If you want to get bridges fixed, and taxes don't fund spending, why in God's name are you fighting a tax war about raising taxes on the wealthy to get your bridge fixed? Can somebody answer the frickin' question? Anybody frickin' answer the question. The answer is it's ridiculous. And no amount of feelings, no amount of the feels is going to change that. And that's the most important thing. So the question comes down to, what is it that you want? Do you want to solve for income inequality? Is that it? Is that why you want to raise taxes? If that's the case, it's not the best way to do it, but that's a fair statement. I'll buy it. But don't marry the two. Don't marry, I want a bridge fixed, with raising taxes to do income inequality. Make them separate. They're separate battles. Spending is not contingent on taxation. The minute you separate the two, you realize, holy crap, the policy space we have to work with is immense. And all of a sudden, you're going to find some defectors, some of those Republican defectors that really want their kids to have health care too. All of a sudden, you're going to start making some big, massive coalitions instead of just being right as rain. Raise taxes, damn it. Gotta raise taxes. I mean, the minute you talk about raising taxes, Grover Norquist is going, do not do it. Do not do it. And they're going to get primaried. If they agree to raise taxes for whatever frickin' reason you want to raise taxes, the Republicans are going to shut down. And they're going to say, I don't care what you say, la, 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 raise taxes, la, 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 raise taxes, lazy people, I'm not funding you, lazy people. That's all they're going to hear once you do that. You got to ask what it is that you actually want to achieve when you're talking smack, when you're trying to entertain actually making progress in this country. What is it that your goal is? And you've got to adjust accordingly. You can't just keep beating the I want to raise taxes all day long just because that's what you've always done. The reason we don't have single-payer health care now is because you've always done what you've always done. Time to do something different. And I'm giving it to you on a silver freaking platter. I mean, dudes and dudettes. Fist in the air, guys. I'm looking for some single payer. Are you up with, do you want it too? I would love to say that your problem is always going to be the Republicans. But do you know how many Democrats fight me like the death? I mean, wow. I have more trouble fighting with Democrats than I do actual Republicans about this stuff. The losercrats are hell-bent on raising taxes. They're still worthlessly, and I mean, guys, I'm talking about like devoid of any value, no redeeming quality. These people are still animated on Occupy worthless Democrats to absolutely talking about government credit cards and Bush killing the country by putting wars on the credit cards. Worthlessly saying this stuff. Worthlessly saying Reagan raided the Social Security Trust Fund. I'm not joking. These are the battles we have in our own shop. They have a death grip on these lies. They won't relinquish. They're going to go to their deathbed holding on to these worthless lies. When I was a Republican years ago, my kids used to call the Democrats the Democrats. It wasn't on purpose. They were just kids and they hadn't quite figured out the T sound yet. And I said, man, that's not too terrible, man. Democrats. Hoorah. Well, right now, Democrats are the harder nut to crack because they absolutely are hell-bent believing that taxes fund spending. The GOP, they just don't want to raise their taxes. There's a lot of them that hate the government that will do everything they can to stifle government. Do not get me wrong. They exist. They're LOL libertarians and stuff like that. But for the vast majority of the moderate people, they're just as milquetoast as the Democrats. They don't really care. They just know they vote Republican. Okay? They're not hell-bent on not having health care for their kids. They're not hell-bent on anything like that. They don't know any better. So when you present things to them and say, hey guys, we get it, you're broke too. We get it. We have been starving our people of liquidity, no vacations, no life whatsoever, living paycheck to paycheck for so long that we don't even know what to do. Now here's the thing. Some people get really mad at me that I'm not anti-Trump. And it's not that I'm not anti-Trump. It's just that I'm an issues-focused guy. Okay? I stick with the issues. That's where I live. I stay there because it doesn't matter. Trump will be gone tomorrow and some other asshole will be in there the next day, right? So, what's the difference at this point, right? So what is the root cause of bigotry in this country? Well, I mean, for real. I mean, people are different. People don't like each other. There's always been racism, whatever. But think about it really. What is one of the number one causes of bigotry in this country? People don't have opportunity, and they look around for those that do. And when they latch onto somebody that they think is eating their lunch, when they're freaking scraping by, they're pointing the finger at that person. They don't care about the facts. They only know that somebody else is eating their lunch, and God damn it, kill or be killed, they're the bad guy. So how do we fix this? A federal job guarantee is the answer, folks. A federal job guarantee is within our reach. And it's something that blue-collar people, it's something that Republicans, Democrats, progressives should all embrace. Now, the basic income gang is far more advanced at this point than the job guarantee gang. So you understand, monetary sovereignty, which is one of the schools of economic thought you hear me talk about, that monetary sovereignty school believes in a basic income guarantee, aka the big. Over on this side, the MMT side, they believe in the federal job guarantee. I interviewed Pavlina Tcherneva the other day, and Pavlina talked about it as a great way of compensating work that we don't often think of as compensable work. What about taking care of an elderly parent? What about doing the arts? What about being an activist and getting paid? You know, we redefine the way we see work. But these are all things that could cure an incredible amount of bigotry in America. Hating Donald Trump and screaming and yelling about Donald Trump does nothing. I'm too smart for that, folks. I refuse to play stupid games. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I want to fix this whether Trump is president or not president. And there's a lot of people out there that are making these really, really edgy resistance type flags and stuff about anti-Trump. And that's great. Probably looks good in a tattoo. But the reality is that we need to stick with the issues so that we win wherever there's a chance to win. Whenever we can advance progress, we win. We don't give two fucks about labels. I don't. I'm a progressive. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm not an LOL libertarian. I am a real progressive, and I want to make progress, and I'll do whatever it takes, whatever hook and by crook it takes to win for us. And so right now, what you've got is a situation where if you learn to flip the script, and talk about the fact that we don't have to raise taxes. Start writing to your congressman. Start writing to your local representatives. Start writing to your local papers. Start telling them what I'm telling you. And we start writing this stuff up. I will begin to put out, and this is something that my team has been talking about, we're going to start putting out a fixed letter, a letter that you don't have to think through too much, where we make demands. And then we're going to ask you all to send them simultaneously at the same time and blitz the world with this letter. Write to every one of your local publications. Send them off to every Facebook page. Send them off to every Twitter account you can get a hold of. Send them all over the place. You know there's people that spam every thread with some thing they wrote early that morning and they just spam every thread with it. Frick it, spam this in there too. We need to make change on the economic front if you want to solve income inequality, if you want to solve a large part of the bigotry in this country, if you want to solve a large part of the xenophobia. You've got to be able to take away the boogeyman, the tendency of all human beings, no matter who they are. No matter who they are. It doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter what you are. Bigotry is something that is a very human fallback position for scapegoating when things ain't going your way. And it's up to us, the thinkers of the world, to stop falling prey to the bullshit and start doing permafixes, not band-aids on heart attacks. really, really fixing the problem at its root. People don't want to be lectured all day about what a frickin' scummy bigot they are. And if you think going out there and calling them scummy bigots all day long is going to solve the problem of a lack of opportunity in America, you're sadly mistaken. Bernie Sanders came out here recently and said the Democratic Party has got to get away from identity politics. He didn't say to stop caring for the poor. He didn't say stop fighting for gays and lesbians and women and other at-risk communities, minorities, etc. He didn't say that. What he said was the focus needs to be more on class. You remember many, many years ago when women were barefoot pregnant in the kitchen and they were expected to stay there? Well, things have changed even then too. Now we're talking about income inequality. We're not just talking, we're fine-tuning that message, right? We still got issues right now as it goes to women and their reproductive rights and the way men and the way our system still rains patriarchy down from above. It's up to us to smash the walls of patriarchy. For men, think about it, dads. You want to be treated fairly in the courtroom? You want to be treated fairly during a divorce? Let's get rid of patriarchy, brother. Let's smash patriarchy where it stands. Let's help. There's all one feminist power here, baby. See, it works for all. Feminism is not a bad thing. Feminism is not anti-man. Feminism is true equality. And I am a true feminist. You know? And so all these old paradigms, all these old things that we had to work through, different thoughts. Women stayed home. They raised their kids. They didn't have careers, right? Many women waited 20 years to get a career, and they started at the bottom when they're 50 years old after their kids are grown. Well, there's a serious gap there that has to be closed. I mean, I remember my own mother doing that. But that right there was founded in patriarchy as well. Now, I'm not suggesting that there weren't some benefits to having mom at home. I love coming home to mom every day. It's the best thing about my life was knowing that my mom was home. I loved it. But that ain't for everybody. And I'm not here to box you in either. So with that in mind, you think about these old paradigms, the gold standard, old paradigms, tax and spend liberals, old paradigms. We progressives are here to shatter paradigms. We're the smart kids in the room. We're not the dullards. It's up to us to change the country. And running around going, Rothschilds, is a loser. It is. It's a full loser. There's nothing you can do about it. What are you going to do? Go out there with tanks and kill the Rothschilds? No, it's inactionable. It's ridiculous. So what are you going to do? You're going to find a way to fix the system. Now, somebody came to me with this Venus Project. I talked about this before. Venus Project is really kind of cool. It's all about a demand economy, resource-based economy. I kind of dig it, right? But you can't even get people to realize that their taxes don't fund spending. How in God's name are you going to get these people to co-sign moving to a completely currency-less, resource-based economy? Baby steps, my friends. This is not incrementalism. This is using what we got to its fullest. Trust me, there's nothing incremental about me. So I'm sitting there trying to tell you guys. A question that came up earlier today that I want to address head on. Somebody said, well, how much do we spend? How much do we want to spend, right? Well, the answer is not how much we want to spend. The answer is, what do the sectoral balances look like, right? It's not just spend, 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 although right now it really is that easy. But in a different situation, let's say we actually took care of our people and we actually paid attention. We were actually living in a balanced economy with an inflation metric as opposed to a budget constraint. Let's say we were living there, right? You would want to look and see, are we a net importer or a net exporter? If we're a net importer, check that box. Then you want to look at our private debt. Do we have massive bubbles of private debt that are making people incapable of getting new loans, make it impossible for people to participate in the economy? If so, put a check in that box. On the federal side, the only kind of debt that we never have to pay back in the sense of our taxes, etc., right? That's where we have to fill the tub back up. So saying we've got to cut federal spending, we've got to cut the deficit, is literally suicide to our economy. And you get nothing out of that. So we need to change the way we look at budgeting. We need to change the way we look at taxes so that we can build alliances with the common sense Republicans who just don't know any better and vote Republican. But every time I say that, I scratch my head and I say, but so many people have voted Democrat all these years. And Democrats took us down neoliberal hell. Did anybody know what they were doing? Lies, lies, lies have gone full circle. Different lies, different bedside manners, but nonetheless lies that were destructive and evil. And here we are. So I am independent, folks. Independent. And I refuse to fall in line. And so this brings me to my final point before I close off. And that's about the Jill Stein recount. I have no idea what the motivation is here. I've read a whole bunch of things about it. I've read a ton of things. I've read the Green Party's direct, here's why we're doing it. I put a post out there asking all you, what do you think? What are your thoughts on it? And I saw the Green people that are just like, oh my God, I love Jill. It doesn't matter what she does. I love it, love it, love it. And then I saw some other people who are like, hey, you're helping Hillary. And I don't want to see that after Hillary stole the primary. Who cares? She doesn't deserve the general, whatever. I don't really have an opinion on this, to be quite honest with you. I'm in wait and see mode. I have some inclinations here that tell me that I don't want a Clinton anywhere near the White House for any reason under the sun. So if that were in any way, shape, or form a possibility, that would be a very difficult pill to swallow. I don't want Trump in there, but you already see my prediction came true, right? The one thing that'll get those lazy vote blue sycophants off their couch is a Trump presidency. And damn it, if they didn't figure out where the streets were for a minute, didn't they? I mean, it was for a nothing burger. Not my president. But it got them off their couches. And that's the only thing that gets a vote blue sycophant off their couch is the GOP. They would have gone back to zombie land sleeping had Clinton won, and we would have gone down a neoliberal toilet, like with one flush. The left would have been completely divided. There would have been no resistance whatsoever. So for me, I don't want Clinton anywhere near the White House. I voted for Jill. I campaigned hard for Jill. I wanted the Green Party to get 5% because we need to have a viable resistance in 2020. And it cannot just be the Democrats pushing Chucky Schumer and all the other friggin' losers that they got over there. Bernie, I'm sorry, brother, but you're shackled up with some really bad eggs. But anyway, the point is that let's say I did come down hard on Jill. Would it be the first time I've come down hard on one of the people I love? No. If somebody were to defend her outright, like, you can't say anything bad about Jill Stein. You can't do it, damn it. I'd say, the hell I can't. Watch this bitch slap. I don't cut. I don't pull. I don't do anything. If I have something to say, damn it, I freaking say it. And you protecting politicians doesn't look good on you. It's a bad look. It's why we get the vote blue sycophants. Don't become a vote green sycophant. Don't become a vote red sycophant. Don't become an LOL libertarian sycophant. Always live for truth. Never, ever, ever protect something that's wrong. Now, if you believe in it, then you better stand for it. Even if I disagree with you, you better stand for it. But don't you dare take issue with somebody for saying something critical of your precious politicians. Don't be a split-fingered waste person. Don't be a loser. Loser. Losers can't take criticism of their candidates. Losers cost us elections. Losers give us the vote blue sycophant. Losers do that to us. Don't be a loser. Always speak truth to power, no matter where it is. Never ever be a sycophant for any reason except for truth. You can criticize your mother. Did you know that? I do it all the time. You can criticize your brother and sister. You still love them, right? Even though they're a PETA, even though they're a complete and utter pain in the ass, you still love them, but you can criticize them. Never, ever, ever, ever defend without investigation. It is the most non-revolutionary act a human being can take. It is pathetic and weak. It's weak sauce. Ever defend a politician outright. But don't you dare say anything bad about Jill. Shut up. I love Jill. I voted for her. I campaigned for her. But guess what? If she does something wrong, I'm going to be in line right up there at the front to say, Jill, you're wrong. It's called being a human being, a quality human being. And it's something you should strive to. Never, ever, ever let a politician get away with misleading you. It's why we are where we are. And it doesn't mean you don't love them. And it doesn't mean you don't care for them. With that, I'm Steve with Real Progressives. If you haven't already, please go to our Patreon account. Help us out financially. Help us get our feet off the ground. We're trying to start this thing, trying to create a 501c3. If you're a writer and you enjoy writing, Real Progressives is actively seeking writers. We'll give you the link here in a minute. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter. And by all means, follow us right here on Facebook. Have a great day, everybody.